In this video, I'm going to show you how to find YouTube ideas that fill your calendar with calls. Because over the past year or so, I've studied hundreds of creators across dozens of niches to find out what actually works. And I learned that the best channels aren't just getting lucky. See, while most people are just guessing what videos to make, there's a proven system that creators are using to find YouTube ideas that make them money. It's called the Outlier theory. And I've personally used it myself to help clients book dozens of calls from YouTube. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. But before we can find these ideas, you need to understand what the Outlier theory actually is. Let's say a certain channel has a potential of 1 million people that could be interested in their videos. Now, if one of their videos reaches 1 million views, that just means it reached their max potential. Now, if you have a smaller target audience of say 100,000 people, using that exact outlier structure will give you a way better chance of actually reaching all of them because it's already proven to work. So what a lot of creators do is they try to replicate those outliers. And I'm going to show you exactly how to find them. So the first thing you want to do is have something like vidIQ downloaded as the Chrome extension. You'll just search vidIQ. I think you can even download it from the website specifically, or just look up on Google vidIQ Chrome extension and then add that so you can access it on YouTube. And what that's going to look like is super simple. And then once you have it, you'll have these things. You can see 2.2x, 250,000 subscribers. Like nobody usually has that, like without the vidIQ. 8.6x, like that's not something that you usually would have without this. 12x, and you can already see how it's telling us exactly which videos are outliers. And that pretty much brings us to the first way to find outliers, and that's going to be scrolling the browse feed. Now you can just go on here. There's little category tabs at the top. You can go on strategies. You can look through these videos, and I'm going to look for, with vidIQ, it's usually red. So it's like 12x is a good one. 3x is a little low. 8.4x is solid. 3.5x. And you can just go through, scroll through all this stuff and start to jot down stuff that's kind of applicable to your niche or in an adjacent industry. Now, the second method is going to be getting a list of people in a similar industry as you, or at least in an industry where you could take ideas from. So I have kind of a huge list of creators that I know do a really solid job, and they're always producing some sort of outliers. So you can click on one of these, say like Andy's a good one, Callaway is another good one. Where's Callaway? And I pretty much go through these list of creators and I see what kind of outliers they're recently producing, and then I would kind of mix those up from there. So the first way is going through the browse feed. The second way is building a list of creators, and I personally recommend a mix of both because there might be a time where your list of creators doesn't really have anything, so then you can hop back onto the browse feed and vice versa. But the thing is, not every outlier is going to be a video you want to copy. So what you want to do is basically just build out a checklist depending on what your strategy is to filter them out. So what I personally run through is 3 different things. First is how high the outlier score actually is. So I'm not going to take anything below like a 10x. Obviously, if it's up at like 100x, that's going to be the best case scenario, but anything below a 10x is not really strong enough. As for the next situation is going to be how recent the video is. So I personally look for stuff that's within like the past 3, 4, maybe 6 months at the max. This way, it's actually something that's trending, because with these outlier videos, you're going to be riding a trend, so you want to take advantage of it. And if you're taking something that's 12 months or maybe even 2 years away, then you might have just completely missed the wave, and it's not going to work as well, at least as it should. And last is just going to be if I can naturally adapt it to the niche I'm making a video for, because if it feels like I'm forcing it, then I probably am. So if I try to fit it into that same title framework and it's just not really sounding correct, or it feels like too far of a switch to the point where it's not the same structure as it was before, then I'm just not going to use it. And that kind of brings us to the next step, is how do you actually take a title and put it into something that you want to make a video about. So to run you through a quick exercise, we could look at something like Callaway. So in this scenario, if I'm doing it manually, sometimes I can use AI to help out, but something like this where it's like how to become a master storyteller. So in my opinion, I'm going to ask myself why this specific video works. And because I know a little bit about the platform, I know that this thumbnail is something that was trending really well. So the storytelling fits in with this thumbnail specifically, like that overall concept of like, the climax, the peak, whatever you want to call it. And then how to become a master storyteller. I don't think that this is going to be something that you could just throw onto any niche, like how to become a master salesman, because that's like too generic. So in my situation is like, maybe you could do how to become a master storytelling in sales, or how storytelling can help you become a master salesman, like something like that. I think it's the storytelling angle here that's specifically working well, and you kind of need to understand that when you're looking at it and not just like blindly follow stuff. Because like I said, if you put how to become a master at email marketing, it's like not going to be a strong enough title, and you're not going to be playing into the thing that actually made this do well. So the next one is social media isn't hard, it's misunderstood. In my opinion, this is something you could just throw like YouTube onto. So it's like YouTube isn't hard, it's misunderstood. Sales isn't hard, it's misunderstood. Cold email isn't hard, it's misunderstood. And you would just have to change around the title or the thumbnail to be stuff that's like more relatable. So this is kind of a good scenario where it's like, if you feel like you're forcing that thumbnail a little bit too much in some scenarios, like it might not be worth it. But I think overall, this would be an easy title to replicate. The next one, how to create irresistible hooks and blow up your content. I think this is solid. Simple one off the top of my head, be like how to create irresistible irresistible offers and blow up your business. Like that's simple for something like cold email. If you're running like an agency coaching program, that could be another good one. Now this is going to be specifically for him. Like that's not going to be something you could copy. The new way to win on social media. Like this is another good example. So it'd be like the new way to win with cold email in 2025. Give me 15 minutes and I'll make your cold emails impossible to ignore, which is actually a good one that I just thought of. How to write a killer script that keeps viewers hooked. This could be one that's more like around sales or something. If you're like in the sales niche, how to write a killer script that closes any deal, something along those lines. Social media is about to change forever. Sales is about to change forever. Cold email is about to change forever. Email marketing is about to change forever. Those are all really easy ones. So the reason why I picked Callaway is because he actually has like some really easy frameworks to kind of replicate from, but some of them are going to be a little bit difficult and you can throw them into AI, ask AI to analyze the frameworks and pretty much just take it from there. But that's how I do it. I usually do everything manual with a little bit of help of AI if it gets difficult. See, you could take the idea and the title and the thumbnail, but the thing is, if your video isn't even as close to as good as theirs is, then you're never going to see the same amount of success. So you need to study what their core pillars are, what the hook they used was, and actually ask yourself like what kept the people watching. Then you need to recreate that structure with your own angle. But the thing is, doing this manually would take hours to figure out what they actually did, because you're going to have to watch the videos back over and over again. And sometimes they could be 20, maybe even 30 minutes long. Now that's where AI comes in, because you could spot these patterns in a matter of minutes, and then you can apply them to your own video. So here's how we're going to use it. We're going to use Callaway as the example. So I'm just going to go on one of these videos. Let me go to this one because I think it's probably something that could be replicated. Let's go to the extension. I have copy YouTube transcript extension. Just going to copy that to the clipboard. I'm going to enter that into Claude and just ask it something super simple. All I said was help me analyze this YouTube video and what were the main core pillars of it. So it's going to be super simple and it's going to break it down step by step for me. So it gives me 5 core pillars. So this was like a listicle, it seems. I just want to know kind of why it did well so it understands and can train itself on the actual concept of the video. So I asked it something super simple. I just asked why it performed well, and now it's going to tell me the actual stuff behind the strategy and the concept. I'm pretty much just training it. Not that I'm really going to use any of this information. I just wanted to know everything about it. And now all I'm going to ask it is how we can replicate it for my niche. In this case, I'm going to use cold email because I think it'd be too similar to do YouTube. Now you can see I ask it like, now if I was to replicate this for my niche, how could I do that? I run a cold email agency for agency owners, and it's going to tell me like the core structure is going to be 5 non-obvious learnings. And from here, the thing that I find super key is actually coming up with these yourself, but you can use AI to pretty much help you through the entire process. So you could sit here, brainstorm with it, ask if there's any other learnings it could be helping out with. But in this scenario, I'm just going to say that we're going to roll with this so I could show you the rest of the process. However, disclaimer, like I would not run with this specifically. Like don't believe everything that it tells you right off the rip. I would manually revise your own, maybe take some of these, change around some of the wording and stuff like that, and then run with it from like this point on. So now what I told it is I wanted to flesh out the entire 5 points into a script using bullets and sub bullets. You can read through this. It's going to be really basic stuff just so AI knows what to do. Now you can see it actually goes through there and pretty much fleshes out the whole thing. And I don't love that it's giving like timestamps and stuff. Like honestly, that stuff kind of just gets in the way. Like it's not really needed, but I think that it's pretty strong relative to spinning this up in just like literally 3 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes. But what you could do is you can go through, like I said, manually revise those 5 pillars so you can actually have stuff that's important to you or your opinions. And then you'd come through, you'd maybe change around all of this stuff and it would probably write something a little bit better based on any research that you can give it. But that's pretty much how the process works. You find titles, ideas, and thumbnails that outperformed for specific creators. And then you find out why it outperformed and then use a similar structure to them. Now, this is not to say to go ahead and just copy exactly what they're doing. Put your own twist on it, add your own stuff, and try not to replicate people in the same exact niche as you. This way, there's no like fine lines that you're crossing there. But the thing is, that's just one part of the process because one video can only get you so far. So if you want to see how to build a content strategy on YouTube that actually books calls, you go watch this video and I'll see you over there.